I'm Danielle Bradbery, and blast off to the music universe.
Well, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm good. How about you?
I am great. As we are recording this, I am just about packed for our little trip to Las Vegas.
It seems like those trips are never ending, and then Vegas is always kind of sandwiched in between or
No, what
bookend
happens is we plan a
of
trip to
trips.
Vegas, and then something out in LA comes up, so I just end up coming back with you, crashing on your sofa. and
Or
then we go
something
to
in New
Los
York
Angeles.
pops up that I have to drag
That
us
was
to.
your decision.
I said that I have to drag us to. Well,
Well,
today's guest is Danielle Bradbery, and we're lucky to have her. She won one of the seasons of The Voice. I'm not sure exactly which season that was, but she is definitely no stranger to lyrical truths. We're talking about her new song Monster. It's a vulnerable single that I think she lays out very well for us on how that song comes about and how everyone can relate to it.
fantastic. Yeah, it was a great conversation. We also talk about her first headlining tour, which she just wrapped. So this is really, really exciting. So here's our interview with Danielle Bradbery. Danielle Bradbery, welcome to the Music Universe podcast. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am great. New single out for you called Monster. Tell us about it. It's a vulnerable new single and quite an intriguing title as well.
Yeah. Monster is a song about anxiety. Monster being the anxiety or whatever mental health, bump in the road that people run into. But I wrote it for myself, my heart, my mental at the time. And, I didn't, I had a guess, but I didn't know how much of an impact it would be on my audience. I mean, so many people deal with anxiety and everything. Everybody deals with their own type of monster. And so it's been really, really fascinating to just hear the stories and see how the song has impacted people. And it meant a lot to me. And that was my hope to, have it mean a lot to other people and just let people know that they're not alone. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
yeah.
and I know I greatly suffer from it too, and it's just one of those things that some people are afraid to discuss. I know when I
Mhm.
was younger, I was always called a worrywart, but now I'm realizing as that I'm an adult, it's actually been anxiety the whole time. So was it
Mhm.
hard for you to kind of address that?
Um, to be honest, it really wasn't hard. I feel like I'm always preaching about being an artist of honesty, realness, and vulnerability. And, I'm the type of person that it's really hard to cover up what I'm feeling. My mom used to get on me all the time for my facial expressions and all that stuff. But, it's really hard for me to put out songs and perform all these like really happy songs when at the moment that's not really what I'm feeling. And so putting out Monster and writing it and talking about it and everything, I've actually been so excited to like finally bring it right here because I mean, like you said, I mean, everybody deals with their own again type of monster. And it's so once you shove it down and try to avoid it, that makes it 100 times worse. So I've actually been really excited to talk about it, sing about it, and all of the above. So
Well, and art, music makes poetry and lyrics makes it so much easier to talk about things that are harder to articulate in everyday conversation. So it's a
right.
great medium to explore it as well.
Yeah, for sure. It's been really, really interesting. Yeah.
And would you say this is perhaps your most honest single?
Yeah, I would definitely say it's my most honest. I've had other honest songs about relationships, about guys, and just things that have been going on in my life, but like me as a person and my mental, that yeah, this song is definitely the most honest I've been with my music, which is I love that, you know, I can do that with confidence and not be scared to do it, and I feel like more people should do it. So,
Fabulous.
Yeah.
mhm.
Fabulous.
And
So go ahead, Betty.
But
Go ahead.
well, I was gonna say, you just came off recently a 9-date run featuring multiple sold out dates. So congrats on that.
Thank
And
you.
a special place tour is your first headlining track. What's it
Yeah.
like to be the top dog in that aspect?
It's really exciting, but there's definitely a pressure to it. Um, yeah, my first headline tour. And I really didn't know what to expect. I was just, I've always been the opener and for all these years, and finally getting my first headline tour, it was so fun to just experience it all. And, one thing that really stuck out to me the most was, being an opener, the fans do know some of my songs, maybe, a line or a verse, chorus, whatever it may be. But having my own tour and the crowd being there for only me, I mean, they sang from top to bottom, the whole set, every single song, even my deep cuts. And so that was a kind of shocking reality moment for me. I was like, oh, this is my tour. They're singing all of my songs. Like, this is such a crazy, surreal feeling. So it's been really fun.
Fantastic. Speaking of performing live, we just missed talking with you. We scheduled this because you were crazy busy over
Mm,
at Stagecoach. How was
yeah,
that?
it was really fun, really fun. I haven't been back to Stagecoach in a few years, but I went back to perform with Breland. He put out a song called Happy Song and then redid it with me as a feature. And so I went and performed that with him. It was super fun. I love Breland. He's super, talented, and Stagecoach is always just full of activities. And even though it was very, very hot, but the activities, performances, just people, they made it all very worth it. So yeah.
Fantastic. So you didn't have a set yourself. You came in to feature with Breland.
Yeah, so I came in to feature with Breland, didn't have my own set, and then I had other.
Darn.
I know, but hopefully next year. But I had other obligations to do, and yeah, I was totally fine with it. I was just hanging out and
Oh,
watching
cool.
everybody else's set. So yeah, it was still super fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, Stagecoach was fun. It was our first time, and you're right about that heat.
It was so hot.
I mean, it
So
it was the end of April and it felt like the middle of July. It was
I know.
just
crazy.
intense.
But
And yeah, we had a lot of fun there too. But some of the sets, like you said, you get to watch them, but you're kind of all over the place and the crowds
Hmm.
are so spread out. Did you find anybody that you really wanted to see that you couldn't because of the timing?
Um, I missed Brooks and Dunn and Chris Stapleton, which I was very sad. I had to go back because we flew out the next morning super early. So yeah, I missed them, which I was a little bummed, but I saw videos and clips just throughout my Instagram, and I mean, they know how to put on a show.
yeah,
Yes, they
yeah,
do.
and through sound issues, there were some sound issues there
Oh no.
at their set. Yeah, the speaker poles were kind of given out. But anyway, back to you, Danielle. What else is coming down the pike? Is there maybe an EP or an album in your future off of this single? Maybe more singles coming up?
Yeah, so we're definitely working on new music in hopes for an album. I haven't had one of those in a few years, and I think it's about time. But I'm sitting on a bunch of songs right now. I actually go and write with some of my favorite writers tomorrow and also record some more new songs, which we're trying to get it all done so we can turn in and hopefully get an album. So we're all working towards that as we speak, and just getting geared up for CMA Fest. I recently announced I'm doing Jordan Davis tour in September. So
cool.
a lot of exciting things.
Very cool.
And speaking of the albums, do you find that in today's market that it's easier to, release singles as you get them recorded, or do you like the idea of just kind of holding some back for a full-length album?
I definitely think it's better to just keep releasing new songs and keeping the fans just engaged and giving them what they want. And it's always so fun to release music. And I feel like as we get it done, I think it's super cool to just here's been what I've been working on. But there is also this other side of it that's so special about a whole project. And I get a little impatient with that one. But yeah, there's definitely pros and cons to both.
Very cool. Very
Awesome.
cool. So that headlining tour, before we let you go, I want to get back to it. I have kind of an odd question for you about that, because it's rare we get to talk to an artist who's just making that leap from getting a name by, buddying up on some tours and opening to making that jump to headline. Was that a management decision? Was that your decision? Was that a label decision to say, hey, we're getting sales and streams in this area, so let's try to do headline shows over here? How did that come about for you to start headlining?
So yeah, it's been a while. I won The Voice 10 years ago. And usually, people get right into it and do that type of stuff. But when I tell people that I just finished my first headline tour, they're like, wait, you just did that? So I think, I've had a few different managements over time, and, it was definitely a management decision, and they took charge, which I'm so grateful for. And they're like, you need to be playing your own shows. We need to figure out what your markets are. And just really, we sat down in the meeting room and really looked at the logistics. And, 10 years later, they're like, okay, you got the streaming, you got all this stuff, like you have such a strong fan base, like let's give them what they want, let's go on tour. And I'm like, hey, I've been ready. So it's just, management definitely pulled, put on the green light for that. And label was right, backing it. And I think it was just all around, it was about time. So yeah.
And like you said earlier, it kind of comes with a big responsibility because you're the name that everyone's drawn to now.
Yes, it does.
Very cool. Well, and you get the merch sales too. There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. I love it. Well, hopefully there's big things. Obviously there's big things, but hopefully there's more headline dates in the future after the Jordan Davis situation, and you'll come our way to DC or to Bakersfield, and we'll get a chance to say hi. Danielle Bradbery, this was a pleasure. Thank you so very much.
Yeah, thank you guys.
So we got some news to discuss, but before we get to that, I want to say I had a thought on this. Didn't get to it in the interview because I don't like giving opinions in interviews. The thing about competition shows is you kind of have to hit them in their first couple of years to really sort of take full advantage of them. Or else, as Danielle said, people who follow you don't realize how hard it is to establish a career off of a competition show victory. I mean, Kelly Clarkson was lightning in a bottle for the first season of Idol, but then, since then it's been, you can really only name on one hand the true superstars that have come out of Idol.
Yeah,
Kelly,
really,
Underwood.
her and Carrie, really.
Yeah.
And Actually, Danielle won season 4, so that was
Yes.
2013. So she said 10 years, but they do
But the
similar
problem
cycles.
there, and I will say, is they were the first talent competition show with amateurs to do 2 cycles in a year. So that might have
Right.
diluted the focus, if you will, on one particular winner per year. But now, speaking of news, and this is the news I wanted to cover, speaking of The Voice, somebody you have been a fan of your entire life is taking on Blake's mantle.
Yeah. So Reba was mega mentor for season 23, and it's been announced during the NBC upfronts in New York that she is taking over Blake's chair for season 24. So she'll officially be a coach for the first time ever on The Voice. Now, many people may have forgotten this, but knew this perhaps. She was originally approached instead of Blake. I'm excited to see how she does, and now we can hashtag Team Reba, which I've always
It's
been on. So it just expands it a little more. And yeah, her focus lately seems to be television, and hopefully we can see a taping of it in person. That would be cool.
right. And I will say that's been part of the evolution of these talent competition shows. Is it used to be watch to see who gets the rudest comment from the judges, and now even if they're not the best, it's still very supportive. So
Right.
I think the show has evolved to sort of fit what Reba can do and what Reba is able to do, and I'm excited to see what kind of teams she'll put together, because she'll put the best of the best. And I'd love for her, I know it won't work out this way, but I'd love to see her first team be all female women from a variety of genres: rock,
Oh,
country,
that's
southern
interesting.
rock. I'd love to see her have an all female team to go at it, since she shattered the glass ceiling in country music. So
Yeah, well, that's an interesting perspective, but you're right. It probably wouldn't work that way. But
right.
she's going to be joined by John Legend, Niall Horan, and Gwen Stefani, which obviously is Blake's wife. So very cool. They're keeping a country person in there, and excited to see. And it's cool that that Danielle was on that show, and kind of full circle there with that news this week. So congrats to Danielle for her new project, and Monster, and the album she's working on, as well as the first ever headlining tour that she just wrapped.
Exactly. Big things continue to be ahead for Danielle. For the Music Universe podcast, I'm Matt.
And buddy, thanks for watching and listening. Be sure to follow us on socials at the Music Uni, like, subscribe, and share our content. And we, I think, have stars now, if I'm not correct, on Facebook whenever we can post a reel. And themusicuniverse.com is where the latest news and concert reviews. Take care.